Okay. Okay. I believe I'm live now. Jamie, if you can just help confirm via my YouTube page that I'm live. Okay. Awesome. So live on YouTube now. Good evening, everyone. It's good to have you here once again. I hope we had a fantastic week. I want to use this privilege to also appreciate my guest facilitator today, who is Patrick. Patrick and I have history together, which I will get into in a matter of time. But I want to really appreciate him for the honor to be here. He's a very, very humble man. You know, the last time I was in Ghana a couple of months ago, before I could see him, you know, and then I'm like, oh, I'm here to see Patrick. They're like, oh, that's our boss. The first look. Then I get to the reception, and then it's like, hold on, I need to go confirm that you can be allowed to see him. I say, wow.
Really? You went through all that?
Honestly, I mean, the good thing is that, I mean, they were pretty much nice. It's like, okay, she's doing her job. And then they take me to the massive office of my ex-colleague. So here's the history we have very quickly before we get into it. Patrick and I used to be colleagues. We worked at the same company pretty much. While I headed the Nigerian market for the wholesale business unit, Patrick was heading the Ghanaian markets, right? And during that time, you know, I've always known him to be very, very humble. I mean, I just knew that there's so much more inside this man, all right? And I mean, the results were there to also prove, and leaving that company and then becoming the CEO of Synlab. Oh my goodness. Synlab is, I think, is it the third largest or second largest?
In Ghana, we are the second largest. In Nigeria, I think they are the market leader in Nigeria.
Yes, in Nigeria, they're the market leader. In Ghana,
we are the second.
Yeah. You know, to become the CEO of that. Hey, let make you guys laugh a bit, right? So after the meeting at his office, of course, we went for like an evening hangout together at an evening hangout. And then we're done eating. I didn't even tell Patrick all this part. And then he's like, Kemi, how you getting home? Do you want me to drop you or something? And then I said, oh, there was another colleague that was supposed to drop me. So we went to his car. And then I say, oh my God, we're just laughing, you know, because the previous company we're coming from, the car he used to use was right beside the car he was not entering, which was like a Prado Jeep, right? And then we just laughed about it. And this was a matter of like a year, I guess, or two of leaving the previous company, and everything just pretty much changed, right? I mean, he narrated the story around him actually applying for this role and also getting the role in the first place. And the one thing that made them decide to eventually take in, right? It was because he could negotiate. Patrick, you see, I don't forget conversations, right? Yeah, even though we're laughing and gisting about this, but I never forget conversations. He said it was because he could negotiate, right? He negotiated for a higher pay, and that was the one reason why they took him. So that might be for somebody here. So yes, Patrick, you're welcome to Bold with KSA. Bold is acronym for becoming open-minded, limitless, and daring, right? The commitment here is to utilize my network to create a channel where you know, the younger business professionals in codes or young people can actually learn from their experiences. I believe that experience is the best teacher, but it doesn't have to be your own experience.
Your
There's so much
personal
to learn
experience,
from other
yeah.
people's experiences. Yes. I mean, I had my MBA in the US, and I can tell you, I can't remember half of the things they taught me there. That's the truth. I can't. At the end of the day, it's still down to, but I can remember, see how easy it was for me to remember what our conversation was like, even though it was about 4 or 5 months ago, but it was easy. The one thing I took from there is you had the courage to negotiate. And based off that, they were like, there must be something special about this guy, right? So I took that. Of course, I was taught negotiation skills in MBA, but I can't remember the details. But I didn't forget that conversation, right? So that's the power of a room like this and an environment like this. And I'm really glad that you're taking the time to share your interview. So yes, we're on these for 5 weeks. So this is a coaching and mentorship group, even though it's open to the entire public. For these sessions, we end up going into like a private room where we have core coaching, right, where mindset is concerned. So yes, this is the second week where we are having this. The last week we talked about mindset re-engineering and all of that. And this will be the first guest session, and then we have 4 others coming up on board. But it's good to have you here. I'm so glad. I prayerfully, trust me, came up, verted the topics.
I'm really glad to know a prayer answering, part of what
you are an answer to a prayer. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. So I prayerfully.
I wanted to find out, can our other colleagues, participants also interact? Can they ask questions?
Because they can interact.
About 2 sessions of what I would do is going to be activity. It's going to be quite interactive.
Okay.
I can only see names. Okay.
How many people can you? So the thing is, because I'm going live on YouTube, I want just my face and your face to show on YouTube.
That is fine.
They can send in question and they can put in a poll. But what sort of interaction do you want? Like, you want to see their faces?
For example, if I have a question, then I need someone probably amongst the participants to answer. Is it possible?
Yes, it's possible. So you need to mention the name of the person. Can you see their names on the left?
Yes. I can see Modupe, I can see Molowa, I can see.
So what I need to give them access to speak. So once you want to mention the person, I give them the access to speak. Yes. All right. And then that goes. That's the webinar structure.
Okay.
All right.
All right. That is fine.
So we are talking about overcoming limiting beliefs and daring to succeed. I mean, I know that Patrick was not exactly born with a silver spoon. If you guys follow him on LinkedIn, you should follow him on LinkedIn. He gets to post a lot of very, very insightful stuff. You would have seen one of his old pictures like this. I was doubting, no, this can be my colleague. This can be the CEO. And then in a matter of years, to achieve the success there, is really, really celebratory. So, Patrick, I'm handing over to you right now to take us through this powerful topic that we all need at one point or the other in our lives. All right, so you guys get set with your questions as we go. We're going to be doing this for about, I think, in another 1.5 hours. So please pay attention and get your notes ready. All right, Patrick, over to you, sir.
All right, sure. Thank you very much, Kemi. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. And I hope that in this few minutes that we are going to spend together, we will be able to have a very insightful discussion on the topic of overcoming limiting beliefs. Like I mentioned earlier, I would prefer that it could be more interactive, so that I know the information being shared is being received appropriately. And then I actually have an activity where participants are supposed to be involved. You may not necessarily need to even speak during that time, but I would be glad you follow and also ensure you are, involved, so that by the time you are done, you would be able to have your money's worth. So I was even wondering why.
Sorry, Patrick, 1 second. Can we have that activity at the end of your slide such that I'm going to stop sharing on live YouTube and then everyone can have their video and everything on?
Okay,
Does that
that's
work
also
for you?
fine. Yeah, when we get
Okay.
there, probably I'll skip and then conclude. Then we come back to the
That's
activity. That's
perfect.
fine. But let me
Okay.
confirm. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
You can. All right. Okay. I'm live. Okay. All right. So we would go through an introduction, then we look at breaking the cycle of limiting beliefs. And then there is an acronym 4R approach to overcoming limiting beliefs. We also look at that. There is another way which was designed by the Asana group, which would also help us to be able to overcome limiting beliefs that I'll take us through. And then the interactive activity, more or less to help us be able to come up with the belief audit. Audit your belief system. What are the things you believe about yourself? Is it true? Is it not true? But based on the recommendation of the host, we'll push that one to the end. Then there is a story that I'll be telling you about myself. In fact, I was supposed to ask one participant to also share his or her story so that we can become limitless. Then there is an assignment. I call it the closing challenge that I'll give to participants. So when we talk about limiting beliefs, I don't know what comes to your mind, but I am very certain that if you put the two key English words together, something that is limiting the kind of stuff that you believe about yourself, it could be a thought, it could be a fear, it could be a barrier in your mind. However, let's still see how that plays out when it comes to the way we manifest ourselves in achieving our goals and objectives in life. So you definitely would have a goal as an individual. I don't know the makeup of our participant, but I can assume that some of us are having our respective careers. Some of us are young entrepreneurs. Some of us are likely to be students. Some of us are yet to even find a job. But irrespective of what you do or where you are at in your life, definitely you may have a goal. And especially when you struggle to be able to achieve your goal because you are plagued with negative thoughts. Sometimes it could be that, am I really cut out for this? Am I good enough? All these thoughts that run through our minds could come from either past experiences or criticisms from authority figures in our lives. It could be your father, it could be your mother, it could be a senior brother, an uncle, an aunt. You know, we Africans, because of the extended family system, we have a lot of people becoming authority figure in our lives. It could be a guardian. It could even be a teacher in school who probably for whatever reason might have scolded you one way or the other. And these negative tendencies could result in you having self-doubt and ultimately limiting your belief system. So sometimes you may make progress towards your goals, but these thoughts sometimes could make it difficult for you to get there. Like I said earlier on, you could ask or question yourself, I am not cut out for this, or am I cut out for this? You could even say that, I don't fit in. This environment is not for me. And Kemi, as you talked about M-Pharma, you know, the earlier days when I joined M-Pharma, you know, naturally I'm quiet, though I talk, but the culture was a bit different comparing with where I was coming from. So I also asked myself, am I really cut out for the M-Pharma culture? But with time, I was able to fit in. Then you can even ask yourself, I will never be good enough. Or someone might have told you, you are not good enough. And that has become a barrier in your mind. There are others that are even questioning their leadership capabilities or abilities. Me, I'm born to be a follower. I don't think I'll ever become a leader. So when you have all these negative thoughts running through your mind and ultimately making you question your self-worth, it is able to stifle your ability to to build some level of confidence to be able to deliver and become the best version of yourself. So let's look at two definitions that I came up with when I was doing the research. One definition is that a limiting belief is a state of mind. So it is a state of mind, which means it is happening in your mind. It is also a belief about yourself that restricts you in some way. These beliefs are often false accusations you make about yourself or others make about you that you have believed, and then they can cause negative results or negative consequences on the way you are able to deliver your goals in life. So one, it is a state of mind. You can even call them walls or barriers in your mind. And it often originates from somewhere in your life. It could even be self-imposed. It could come from authority figures, as we have already mentioned. It could even come from peers. It could come from teachers. It could come from different people who might have, as it were, given you either negative feedback and you tend to believe them, whether it is true or not, and ultimately impacting on negative thoughts that you hold dear to you, and then it holds you back. The second definition I have is limiting beliefs are those invisible. Invisible means you cannot see. And if I look at Kemi on the screen, she looks very beautiful. Whether she has limiting beliefs or not, we might not be able to look at her face and tell. In the same vein, you can't look at me, look at my face and tell that I have these beliefs. So when people look at you, they might not be able to tell. However, when you begin to start doubting on yourself, when it begins to manifest, when it begins to hold you back, then it becomes clear. Then it shows. So these are formed by past experiences, societal expectations that you have never been able to meet. And then sometimes it is also fear of the unknown, fear of what you have not yet been able to, achieve. And then they stop you from stepping into your full potential. So we also get to see that they are not visible, and it is in our minds, and it's as a result of past experiences, societal expectations, or even personal fear. So these are the two definitions I could come up with. Let's look at what causes it. Fear, I've already mentioned. Fear is one factor. And fear has been defined as false evidence appearing real. Fear, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. It is not true, actually. In most cases, the things we fear about, half of them don't happen. However, the moment we allow them to become a dominant part of our thought pattern, then the probability that it could happen becomes higher. But if you take it as something that I must deal with and move on, it is a false evidence, actually. It has not happened yet. So fear sometimes also holds us back. And then imposter syndrome. This life I'm living, is it really true? Am I up to it? Kemi called me the CEO of Synlab Ghana. Am I not imposing myself as someone I'm not? Am I really the CEO of Synlab Ghana? Am I really a young entrepreneur? Am I really the marketing manager of this organization? Am I really the owner of this business? Am I really the owner of this YouTube channel that is having thousands and 10,000s of views? You question yourself. And the moment you allow them to, to fester in your mind, they put a hold on your ability to deliver. Sometimes through past experiences, past failures, past inability to deliver. So you tend to think that once it happened in the past, it's going to happen again. Oga, the past is gone. We are now in the present. The future is young and bright. So the moment the past begins to stare at you in the face and you allow it, it could also hamper your ability to deliver on your goals. So forget about the past. The only way you should remember your past is to learn the lessons the past has to offer. But apart from lessons, forget about the past. And then criticism. The thing about criticism is that Sometimes people tend to criticize us in the name of giving us feedback. It is not every feedback you should listen to. People may criticize you, especially when it is coming from a source you respect, maybe a teacher, maybe your father, maybe your mother, maybe an uncle, an aunt, maybe even a colleague you respect so much. You know, for me, these days I've decided that if it is not a feedback will look at all angles of a situation, the good and the bad. But criticism will only look at the negative aspect of the situation. So if you criticize me, I would ask you, what are the other side of the coin? Is there anything else good that you can tell me? Because the more you allow criticism to also fester, you start questioning your ability to deliver. So it's one of the way. And then societal expectations, pressure from society, peer pressure, family pressure, you know, these are things that can also put limiting, how do I put it? Can limit our ability to become a better version of ourselves. And then other ways by which we also find ourselves in that way. These are not exhaustive, but these are the things I could come up with. So once you're able to know the cause of your limiting belief, and let me make this point, what would cause you to doubt yourself or would let you have a limiting belief will be different from mine. So it varies from person to person. Someone is bold, so fear may not be a factor. It could be an imposter syndrome or maybe a past experience. So it varies from person to person. So depending on who you are and depending on what is dominant in your thought, then they would be able to, you know, hold you back, and then you'll not be able to express yourself and deliver on your target as an individual. So these are some of the causes. So how then do we break this cycle, or how then are we able to overcome limiting beliefs? Practical ways to deal with limiting beliefs. If you look at the picture that is showing, I intentionally chose it. This is a young man who is looking into the future, a bit in despair, a bit unsure whether it is going to go well or not, especially looking at where he is at this stage in his life, looking at the challenges that probably he may be going through, the hurdles he is likely to overcome, you know. So this picture depicts someone who is looking into the future with a bit of uncertainty, a bit unsure of himself. So let me tell you my personal story before I come into the details of how we'll be able to do it. Mine did not even start with my career. Kemi, mine started way back in school. I found myself in an experimental school. I don't know about Nigeria, but the school I attended in Ghana, they called it St. Anthony Experimental School. So all the students were on experiment. We were being experimented with a new teaching skill. We were a quasi-government school.
What stage was that? Is it?
I'm talking about, it was from
primary level,
preschool to primary and JHS. They had the government school in Ghana. We call it Saito. I don't know about Nigeria, but they wanted to have, you know, a part of the government school which has similarities and the style and the teaching style of the private or international schools. So we were the pioneers of the school. My mom was a teacher in that school. And for whatever reason, my mom wasn't a trained teacher, but she was a qualified caterer. And they made her the matron of the school. And for some funny reason, some teachers had issues with my mom. And because of that, they would lash it out on me. So right from class 1, I don't remember much about my preschool days, but I remember my teacher in class 1 had issues with me, especially with my writing. And Kemi, I don't know if you remember my handwriting. It is even nicer than that of the doctors. Hallelujah. When I write, oh my God, you need a special eye to be able to read. So this teacher lashed it out. She'll have issues with my mom, and then it will translate into what happens in the classroom. Right from class 1 until I got to, excuse me, class 6, I was always among the bottom 5. We were on average about 34, 35 people in our class. And I was always among the bottom 5. The best I would do would be probably be in between grade, you'll be around 19, 20-ish. But that is the best for me. Until I got to class 6, about to enter GHS. I think Nigeria also have the same junior high. Before you go to the secondary school, you have to do three years after your primary school before you enter secondary school. Before I started GHS, junior high school, my big brother had then finished the university. And he was a shark. He's very intelligent. And he sat me down. And then he told me a few things. He told me, 1, Patrick, you are an Asiamah, and Asiamahs are not failures. The result I am seeing is not reflective of your father. Mind you, my father is a former head teacher. And at that time, he was also working for the education ministry. So you cannot fail. You cannot be at the bottom. Then he told me, it is an issue of your mindset. Once you are able to deal with your mindset and believe in yourself, you can do it. Then he started opening my eyes into a few tricks on how to study and how to understand courses. Long story short, because of this encounter with my own big brother, the next semester or the next term for me was GHS 1. I moved from the back of the class from 29-30, and then I was 11th. Then the next term, I saw myself inching forward 8. By the time I finished JHS, I was among the top 3, to the extent that JHS results came and I had set a record in the district. Please, this record was a village record, so don't be excited. I was a village champion, but at least it was better than where I started from. How did it change?
Yeah, get to that.
Someone was able to help me identify the root cause. How I came to the level where I wasn't confident enough to be able to deliver. So we looked at the origination of the limiting belief. So identify the root cause. Where is it coming from? Is it that you have been abused verbally, intimidated? Have you been, castigated? Have you been overlooked several times? Have you been left behind? You need to know where it is coming from. Once you're able to know where it's coming from, the problem is half solved. I was able to identify it. I knew that all the castigation I was receiving, all the displeasure from my teachers, the cause was that they had issues with my mom in the school, and then they would lash it out on me. So I realized that it had nothing to do with me. So I was able to do a root cause analysis to know where it was coming from. Then I needed to challenge the validity. Is it really true that I am not good enough to excel academically? Is this belief based on fact or assumption? And my brother,
you said you needed to challenge the validity, right?
Absolutely.
That is
the validity of the belief.
Of the belief. That's very key. One of the things I've noticed, I'm sorry to cut you short, in this story that you've said, is the power of words.
Absolutely.
Right? We underestimate the kind of people that have our ears. Whether is, I believe that each of our sense organs are gateways to our lives, to our souls, so what you see, what you hear. And sometimes if you are in an environment that the kind of environment that you have and the words that's being spoken to you, determines the value, how you interpret value about yourself, or even your entire perspective. So in your own case now, somebody identified that you might have an issue with confidence with performing. And this is very key, and this is somehow traced to the fact that teachers will lash out on you because they're trying to get back at your mom, and they will utilize words, right?
Absolutely.
Yet the same words was used to you or was spoken to you by your brother and said, hey, you are better than this. You are not living out the name of your father. Power of words. And I wanted to say that because some of us here, we will be listening to or hearing, at the end of the day, the entire universe was created by words. We'll be hearing certain things, right, that actually have enough power to transform us. It's really about how you interpret them. And that's why I want you to hear it not just as, oh, another lecture, right? But something that, just look out for that thing that will be a seed for you, right? So this experience happened more than 20 years ago. But you can remember
years ago, over 30 years ago.
More than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But you can remember the exact words that your brother said to you. Yes, you can't remember every single word everyone has said to you in 30 years.
No. I deleted them.
That you deleted them, right? And that's the power of seeds, right? So I just want us to open up our hearts to what is being shared. Beyond that, also to emphasize the place of how powerful the words that is spoken to you are. Maybe some of us need to think back, like in your case where you did like a root cause analysis. Back then my father would say to me that he doesn't expect anything great to come out from a girl child. Right? We underestimate some of those things until you find yourself in a boardroom and you're the only woman, all of them are guys, and then you're asking yourself why you deserve to speak on this board.
Yeah.
Right. So some of us, one needs to do that root cause analysis. Where did this lack of confidence come from? Because there's no one that was born with it. That's the truth. We all determine. You see, you said societal expectation. Some of us are far from the original product we're supposed to be. Why? Because of words that have been said to us. And that mindset re-engineering, and knowing that, hey, I need to change my environment. I need to change my friends. You can't change your parents, unfortunately. All right. So I just wanted to point out how powerful words can be. I and Patrick had a really good time a couple of months ago. I mean, in the company of other friends and colleagues.
Yeah.
But I didn't forget that story he shared about he had the power to negotiate. And I said, see, my next job, if that happens, I'm going to go with this mindset, So please, I just wanted to emphasize that and to drop that. All right,
Absolutely. Patrick. And to sidetrack or backtrack, to repeat what you said, during that discussion, I quoted one lawyer in Ghana. He's very popular. He's called Asiamah. And he told me something that has stuck with me. He said that in negotiation, negotiate from a position of strength and not of weakness. So anytime you go to the negotiation table, ensure that you are in a position of strength. What do I have as the basis to negotiate on or from? That will help you to be able to negotiate from a position of strength. Position of weakness is when the other party is the one dictating the pace of the negotiation. That one, at the end of the day, it will not go in your favor. But let's come back to what we are talking so far about. So the power of words. All the limiting beliefs I had, the self-doubt, the lack of confidence, inability to excel academically, were all stemming from words that teachers and classmates, in those days when you are at the bottom of the grade, your classmates would tease you and all of that. These had caused me to, weighing down in terms of my confidence, and I wasn't doing well. However, when my brother sat me down and challenged the validity of these belief systems that were enshrined in me, I realized that one, it was not based on fact. How did I know that? He then pulled his results and told me that I am also Asiamah, born by the same mother, born by the same father. Look at my results. So your result cannot be like mine at this stage, but if you believe, it can be like mine, because I had assumed I was not good enough and that my place was always supposed to be, 29, 30 amongst 34 people. So they were assumptions that I had believed. So he had to help me to shift my perspective using words. So I had to replace the belief with empowering narrative. So it is important we change the narrative about ourselves. What others think about us should not define us. The truth is, we cannot control what others will think about us or even say about us. We cannot control.
Wow.
But we can control what we say about ourselves. Absolutely. So since that time, I also got to understand that as a personality, Kemi, and you know this, I have this unassuming personality. I am aware of that. So because I'm aware of that, I always ensure I need to deliver. I need to let you know what I am made up of, because you can easily overlook me in terms of the way I look. And it is largely stemming or coming from my childhood days. I have received a lot of castigation, a lot of lambasting, a lot of, people looking down on you. And that can even reflect in your demeanor. And I'm now working on my posture. These days, I walk with a chest out, I stand firm, I shake firmly. And these are deliberate steps I had to take to be able to even change my outlook. Because someone can look at you and say that, oh, this guy, forget about him. But at the end of the day, you can change the narrative, starting with your words and then translating the words into action. Wow. That is when you would be able to see that transformation from having limiting belief and then becoming the best version of yourself. So one, identify the root cause. Once you are done, challenge it. Is it valid? There are instances where some of what people may tell you is true, but as a child of God, is like you said, is that the end product that my maker made me to be? No. We are supposed to be the head and not the tail. We are supposed to be above and not below. So people may have certain, thoughts and whatever about you, but you don't have to believe it. You need to set the tone for your own profile, because you build your own profile. No one builds it for you. All right. So I've said about how are we going to make this possible? So that is the question.
I am so sorry, because
feel free and
oh my god, I can't count how many people in the last couple of months have come to ask me that, have come to say to me, KSA, your story of transformation needs to be studied. Different people across different settings. I mean, random strangers sending me DMs on LinkedIn or my other social media platforms. And guess what? This particular slide that you're seeing, there's very little outside of it when it comes to transformation, which is why, again, I don't want you to listen to this as just another webinar, you're in a lecture room and all of that, right? This is it. Identify the root cause, challenge its validity, shift your perspective. Why I actually really stopped you was when you said that because you can easily go unnoticed, you started being intentional about the kind of presence that you command when you walk into a room. How you shake hands, how you appear, how you introduce yourself. All of those things eventually feeds your mind with the right energy or nutrient, so to say. I stumbled on this post on LinkedIn and I want to share quickly on it. and it's on a concept that I'm even trying to build myself to write more about it.
Okay.
It was called personal authority. So there was a statistics or a study that was done, and saying that what the primary thing that differentiates successful people from people that are not successful. And then it says that it was confidence. And then it linked it to what? Personal authority. You know, the last class I mentioned about how everything that you require to succeed already came with you when you came on earth. It's right inside of you, right? That's the truth. There has to be that command, that personal authority. And you know what? It's an energy that we feel. I can say this boldly because a couple of years ago, I wasn't exactly a confident person. And I know how many opportunities. Yeah, I lost. I mean, you mentioned it because when you talked about your primary school days and then saying you didn't have the confidence to be a successful person. You made that statement actually, right? So confidence and personal authority. You know, somebody else said something. He said that the first thing that changes when you want to become your best self. Do you know what the person said? It sounded like a joke, but I understood it. It said, "Is your appearance, is your dressing."
Absolutely.
And that's another note for you. You might think that there's no direct relationship with how you look in relation to confidence, but it has everything. Something you just realize that there's some clothes you can never catch me wearing again. There are some hairstyles I can never do again. There are some colors I can never wear. I can't combine anymore, right? But nobody needed to sit me down. Something in your mind and your perspective about yourself, your understanding of yourself changes, and then you are so intentional. All right, if I'm wearing a white shirt, I need to combine it with this, and over time, it just becomes in your subconscious, right? So that person was saying that the first thing that changes is your appearance, how you look. But I agree with it 100% because some of you might need to start this journey of best self by changing your wardrobe. It can be gradually because you might actually be underestimating how you look or the kind of energy that you feed your mind with. See, even if you're not going to speak positively to yourself, even if you're not going to speak positively to yourself, look good. Walk into a room and work into that room with confidence, right? So the concept about personal authority, there's a difference between authority and power. There's a difference between authority and power. I mean, we are here, we can speak about success and everything. If you are, it's a different, we can say the same thing. The president of Ghana or president of Nigeria was to say something. It comes with power. But there's authority, no one can take that from you. Personal authority, it has nothing to do with your pedigree. It doesn't have it's not about your title, right? It's not about your title. It's a personal authority, an understanding of yourself. It's like it's right in your DNA, somewhere like a chip in your head where you just know that, see, when I walk into a room, nobody in this room is better than me. And it's not about how much I have in my bank account. It's not about what my title is. It has nothing to do with that. And that's
no wonder you
just said to you now. It's the one reason I have a rich network. CEOs, billionaires, name them, in the government, in politics, and these people are not even my age mates. They are older than me. So on the pace of age, maybe they could have been discounted in the first. I could have been discounted. How much more status and pedigree? But we talk because there's such a thing as personal authority and having that confidence. So it doesn't go outside of this. Identify the root cause. So if you're trying to really fix confidence, it's key in your journey of transformation and your journey of discovering your best self, or achieving your goals or becoming your best self, your achievement of your superpower, right? Is confidence. How do you treat it if there's a gap here? Identify the root cause, because confidence will silence every form of limiting beliefs. So I'll round up quickly by saying this. I say to people that darkness is not the opposite of light. Light is not the opposite of darkness, right? Both light and darkness coexist. It just depends on which is finding more expression. So if you're in a room, if you turn off the switch, of course it's going to be dark. So the darkness didn't get manufactured in the moment you turned off the switch. It was always in the room. The only difference was that the switch was on and there was light.
When light appears, darkness
The
fades
truth
away.
is, right in you is the potential to either be a confident human or to have limiting beliefs continue to silence you. Light and darkness coexist. Positive and negative experience coexist. Everything that makes you happy has the potential to make you very sad. The deeper the love, the deeper the hatred that can come from it, because light and darkness coexist. Positive and negative experiences coexist. It depends on which one you're allowing to find expression, just like the narrative of that dark room, and you switch on the light. So some of us just need to switch on the light of confidence. Why? Because you know that both lack of self-confidence and confidence is coexisting. Which one am I shining light on? Which one am I shining light on? So the potential to be confident, to overcome your limiting belief, is already in you. Its potential to be overcome by your limiting beliefs is also there. Tomorrow I can decide, I say, I want to stop being confident. And I feel that energy. Yes, the same me that people are saying here. I feel that energy. I just wake up, and say, there's nothing. Keep saying negative words to yourself. Keep saying negative words to yourself. Over time. And then listen to, those depressive songs. Watch those depressive movies. And keep feeding your energy with all of that. And before you know it, of course, I'm going to shake you with a weak handshake. So each one of us, the potential is right inside of us. I'm emphasizing this because prior to most people that registered, all the people that registered for these sessions, really, they pre-filled a form where one of the things that was actually quite repetitive was the thing about overcoming limiting beliefs. So the potential is right inside of you. It depends on which one you're shining the torch on or you are aligned to find expression. So, with that, I hand over back to Patrick. I just found that this slide was literally almost talking about my story of transformation as well. And I'm like, okay, if this is Patrick's story and it's linked to my own story, then this is the key, right?
Absolutely.
Right, so
thank you, Kemi, for the addition. So then we look at the how. Like I said, I want to make it easier for us to remember. So I have termed it the 4R approach to overcoming limiting beliefs. The 4R approach. So what are they? They are 1, recognize. And then 2, reframe, reinforce, and then redefine. So what are you supposed to recognize? You need to recognize what are the key barriers, the thoughts, what are the walls? Like we said earlier, what are the limiting beliefs that are holding me back? You need to recognize them. So where do you feel stuck? This is a question you should be asking yourself. Maybe where you may be stuck will be different from where I am stuck, and also different from where another person is. Then what belief is holding you back? You need to also ask yourself that question. And I chose this icon here. You can see of someone who wants to go forward, and then there is something tied, a fetus tied to his leg or her leg, and he's struggling to move forward. So it's like you are a prisoner to your own thoughts. You become a prisoner to your own thoughts, whether true or not. Even if it is true, it can still hold you, imprisoned. And you need to recognize them, and then that is the first step to overcoming limiting beliefs. So recognize what are the factors. You need to be able to recognize them. 2, you need to be able to reframe. So reframe means restate it, like we said, change the narrative. You need to change the story. And that one, you need to be intentional. You need to be deliberate about it. So how do you do it? You replace the limiting beliefs with empowering thoughts. So if it is a fear, you look at thoughts that would give you boldness, thoughts that will build your confidence up. So let me look at some examples. So for example, you may have this limiting belief about yourself. I can't speak confidently in front of an audience. I was once like that. Kemi, I was so fearful of standing in front of people to talk. And look at me here today, giving a whole lecture. It didn't start today. I had to confront it by starting from somewhere. How did I do it? I said that every great speaker started somewhere. I can also improve with practice. And so can you. You can also improve with practice. The truth is, you will not become a great speaker overnight. For years, I have been dodging, speaking engagement because I thought public speaking was not for me until I had the opportunity to become the CEO of Synlab. And I realized it is inevitable. If for nothing at all, you have over 135 people you manage, and during work functions, you must talk, whether you like it or yes. I have been sales manager, country manager with teams that I led. Whether you are ready or not, you needed to inspire team when they were down. You needed to encourage them when they were disillusioned. You need to learn how to talk in front of people. So I had to forget about the lack of confidence and my inability to stand in front of people and talk, and then start from somewhere. So there were days that I'll go and stand in front of my mirror and I will give my own speech. Whether it was good or bad, it is me alone in front of my mirror. There were days that I would tease myself when I got it wrong. But with a lot of practice, with a lot of reframing the negative thoughts, the limiting belief, I was able to gradually overcome it. So reframe it. If it is fear, reframe it. I am so much afraid. And there is something that I am yet to do. I have not been able to do. I don't know how to swim. And that one, it is, I am afraid of water. So gradually, I am working towards that. I want to get a coach who can teach me. But even that, I need to work on my mindset that I am not afraid of water. Because I can have the best coach and I will still not be able to learn how to swim. So you replace it with a positive narrative about yourself or about the situation. So you reframe it. So one is recognize the limiting belief. Two, reframe it in a positive sense. Three, you reinforce. What are you going to reinforce? What are some of the practical ways to build new habits to be able to reinforce positive mindset? And this is a question, and I wish I could have had people giving me answers. Kemi, is it possible? I saw a name, Chiamaka.
Yes, it's possible.
Chiamaka, if you are still online, what are some
Chiamaka.
of the practical ways you'll be able to build new habits that will help you reinforce positive mindset? I have about 3 or 4 tools that I'm going to share, but it will be good to hear your thoughts. I've been talking.
I'm going to allow us speak shortly. Is loading, Chiamaka, so that. All right, Chiamaka.
All right, then let me go ahead. If you are able to activate,
you can unmute Chiamaka now and speak.
Okay, Chiamaka, are you able to share some thoughts, practical ways to build new habits, to be able to have positive mindset?
You need to unmute, Chiamaka, in case you're speaking.
Okay. Chiamaka, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead, but I'll still continue with what I have. So I have some tools that we can use. One, so positive affirmations. And these days, it is the age of the day where, friends that I have, every morning, they have positive affirmation words that they read to themselves. They practically meditate on them. But as a Christian, I would rather prefer to meditate on the word of God in addition to positive affirmations. Like I stated earlier, the word of God says that I am the head, I'm not the tail. I am above, I'm not below, I'm not beneath. I am the apple of God's eye. So if this is what the Bible is saying, that Jesus Christ is the express representation of the majestic God, and if I am a co-heir with Christ, then it means that God sees me in high esteem. So if God sees me in such a light, I should not allow any other human being look down on me or see me in a different light. So positive affirmation, say positive stuff, affirm yourself positively. So they said you will never be good enough. You tell yourself, I am good enough to have come this far. I am good enough to have completed JHS. I am good enough to have completed SSS. I am good enough to have gotten this job. I can deliver in the role. As long as they gave me the role, as long as I got this offer, as long as I got this job, as long as I got this contract, as long as I had the confidence to be able to start this business, as long as I had the ability to be able to set up this new either YouTube channel, TikTok channel, or Instagram page, whatever it is, as long as you've been able to start, it means you can bring it to an expected end. So say good things, positive things about the situation. Build that positive mindset. And Kemi has said a lot about that. The next one is surround yourself with positive influences. It's very important. Some of us, we need to change our circle of friends. And there is a deliberate reason why I decided to continue to stay in touch with Kemi, even though I have left M-Pharma. That's the organization we used to work together. There are some colleagues, I don't call them again because they were negative influences on me. But there are positive ones like Kemi that I maintained the contact because Kemi was so confident to the extent that even when we are going into meetings, Kemi's boss sometimes was even a bit afraid of what Kemi will say. Oh dear. Kemi, your boss was afraid of what potentially you could even say. Kemi was very confident, and these are positive influences I needed to have. So I decided to also audit my friends. They say you are the average of the 5 people who are around you. So it is important you surround yourself with positive influences. It is not only friends. Also, what do you listen to? Because we said words also play a major role in shaping our mindset. What are you listening to? When you go on social media, there are the good, there are the bad, there are the ugly. Where do you spend your time? It would be good you read books that would ginger you, books that would inspire your confidence, inspire you to do more, to become the best version of yourself. There are a lot of books that you can read. Okay, podcast. Kemi, have you started your podcast? Yes, I think you have. Absolutely.
Something like that.
Absolutely. It would be good you listen to people like Kemi. It would be good you listen to people who will influence you to do good things, positive things, be able to build confidence. If it is entrepreneurship, listen to those who have excelled in that venture. Don't listen to failures. A lot of people fail and then they become philosophers or failures, and they want everyone to be at their level. No, don't listen to such people. So surround yourself with people who will have positive influence on you. And then journaling. Write down the deliberate, the intentional thing you want to see, the narrative you want to see. Write it down. They say that a short pencil is better than what? A long memory. Write it down. Once you write it down, you will never forget it. You can always refer to. So there are statements that I have heard over the years that I wrote down so that I would always go back. And then in the next slide, I'll talk more about the journaling. Then we go to the next point, which is redefine your success. The truth is that people may have their own expectation of you. People may have their success, but what is your success? It is important that you redefine what success means to you. Don't let people put undue pressure on you. The truth is your journey is different from mine. Our journeys may not be the same. So what someone will call success may not be your success. So don't allow people to judge you by some of the challenges you have had. You need to take charge of the narrative. Rewrite what is success to you. So redefine success in your own terms. That is one. And then what are some of the examples? So for me, the ability to be able to stand in front of people and express myself alone was success for me. It doesn't matter whether I am eloquent, as Kemi is. Kemi is very eloquent. She speaks fluently. She doesn't think before she speaks. The words come to her naturally. That is a physical blessing or the gift God gave her. I am naturally not fluent, but I know I'm a great speaker because I am able to communicate and I'm able to carry an idea across, and you can understand me when I speak. So as long as you're able to understand me, that is success for me. It does not matter whether I have my way with words or not. Otherwise, you will be intimidated. When you are in a meeting with Kemi, the kind of words, how Kemi would approach a situation. If you don't believe in yourself, you're like, hey, Ogana, me, where did I come from? Look at Kemi's presentation, me, my own. Hey, you need to be confident and redefine what success means to you. I remember in one meeting, we're supposed to present on our respective countries, and Kemi presented first. I was like, that is my girl. I was happy because I knew that once Kemi is done, I will be able to revise my own at the background. Then I will come again. You get a point. So you have to set your own benchmark. Don't allow others to define success for you. Otherwise, you put undue pressure on yourself. Your journey is different from the others. It is very important. So recognize, reframe, reinforce, redefine success. You recognize where you are stuck. What is that limiting belief that is holding you back? Then reframe it in your own way into empowering thoughts. Change it into a positive statement about yourself. Then you reinforce it with positive affirmation by surrounding yourself with, positive influences, and then writing those things down. Then you ensure you redefine success in your own terms. So this is one way, the 4R. There is another way which was defined by the Asana group, the company that came with the Asana tool. They have digital tools to organize work. And I'm sure most of you might have heard of Asana. They are doing quite well. The two guys who started that company used to work for Facebook, Dustin and Justin. They are doing amazingly well. The team came up with this. And this is, according to them, how you can overcome limiting beliefs. So they said, identify and write down your belief system. So write self-limiting beliefs down in a journal when they arise. And the truth of the matter is, what held you back yesterday will be different from what is holding you back today. As you mature, as you progress, there are different thoughts, there are different happenings, there are different situations that may hold you down. So the moment you realize something is weighing you down, holding you, write it down. It is the first step of recognizing. Then you assess the accuracy. Is it true? Is it really what it is? Analyze whether your beliefs have merit or not, whether there is an evidence to it or not. You need to critique it, like we said, challenge its validity. Assess the accuracy. Is it true? Sometimes it may be true. If it is true, then what steps do I need to take to change the narrative? If it is not true, throw it away. Oh yeah, discount it. Don't believe it. But if it is true, how do I work on it? It is important that you assess the accuracy. Oftentimes, they may not be true. If it is true, then you take steps to work on it. So, like we said, you can use positive affirmation, combat negative thoughts by reframing them into positive belief system. Have them written down, reframed in your mind, like I had to do. I said every great speaker started from some point, and they did so by practice. So I will practice. I stood in front of my mirror and I started practicing how to speak. It wasn't perfect at the start, but I started anyway. And today I'm able to stand in front of people Kemi, one thing I didn't even tell you now, I'm actually even a pastor of Assemblies of God. They didn't teach me how to preach. They only taught me how to prepare a sermon. But when you are done preparing the sermon, you need to stand before the congregation and preach. If you are afraid of the congregation, how will you preach?
Wow.
So
congratulations. How long ago was that?
It's been a year. It's been a year.
Oh.
But I went through the school. I think the latter stage of M-Pharma, that's when I entered into the Bible school. And then continued through Synlab, and I graduated a year ago.
Imagine that you're pastor of a church and you are CEO of a company.
No, I'm an associate pastor of a church. I have my senior pastor. Absolutely, I support. Okay. But the point is, you need to have that confidence to be able to practice, believe in yourself, then you can be able to speak to an audience. So positively affirm, change the narrative into something positive, and then don't give up. The truth is, when you start, it might not be perfect. In fact, it may even flop. You may even fail, but don't give up. With constant practice, with constant working at it, you will be able to break that barrier. So never give up when limiting beliefs arise. It happens to everybody, including presidents. I remember one MC in Ghana. He is sought after, the #1 MC, event MC in Ghana. He said that even now, anytime he goes on stage to moderate an event, he still would have that 5-minute fear coming back. Then he would tell myself, I did it last time, I can do it now. I did it last time, I can do it now. I did it the last time, I can do it now. He say it 3 times. He will remind himself. We can rise above those limiting beliefs. Honestly, we can do it. It's a matter of the mindset. But, dealing with the mindset, you need to be deliberate about it. Identify and write it down. Assess the accuracy of it. Use positive affirmations and don't give up. And this is where I quote the Bible. It is not on the presentation, but Romans chapter 12, verse 1. And be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So the Bible even affirms this, that the only way we can be transformed is when we renew our mind. And we renew our mind with information, with words. With words. The Bible also recognizes that you can only be transformed by changing your mindset with words. Positive ones, of course. So there are 2 ways by which we can look at it. I talked about the 4 R's: recognize, reframe, reinforce, and then redefine success. And then the other one is identify and write down, assess the accuracy, use positive affirmation, and then don't give up because you are on a journey. Rome was not built in a day. All right. Let's go to the next one. So the belief audit. This is the one, Femi, you advise I take it to the end of this. So I'll skip this. And then, but please, you can, participant, take a look at it. I needed you to write down 3 limiting beliefs you currently hold. And then against that, you write down next to each belief a reframed version of the belief. Then you convert it into an empowering statement. So on the left, the limiting belief you currently hold, and then on the right, reframe it into empowering statement. So that's an activity we would do. But you can even be writing it down as the presentation is ongoing. So I'll skip and go to this one. So I want to again share a personal story of a bold action I had to take. And I shared that story with Kemi when we met a couple of months ago. I had the opportunity to work at various roles. I had led teams. I have now 19 years of work experience. But at the time I was being recruited as the CEO of Synlab, I had worked for 16 years. And I still had doubts concerning certain areas in my ability to deliver. So I remember when the opportunity arose for me to apply to this role, I reached out to someone, and then the person told me, Patrick, you can do it, go for it. So I applied anyway, went through the motions, 4 levels of interviews, 2 different types of aptitude tests. The first one was the regular aptitude test. And then the second one, they call it PID, Personality Inventory Development Test. I had to do all of that. And then they shortlisted, and I'm told later we were 3 people that made it to the final. And at the end of the day, I came out tops. But even when I got the offer, I still doubted whether I was going to excel in the role. Why? Because I had never been CEO before. Managing a country in terms of a business unit is different from managing an entire organization. Managing a team of 45 is different from managing a team of 135. Managing a P&L of 1 million is different from managing a P&L of about $10 million. I mean, the two are not the same. So definitely I had my own share of limiting beliefs. So what did I do? I decided to take an action, and the action was, forgive me, I'm losing my voice. I had to hire a personal coach. I hired a personal coach. So this coaching session you are going through, don't think you are wasting your time and you are wasting resources. No, it really helped me. I hired a personal coach and I paid money. I'm not saying money, money. When you say money, it means it was at a higher cost. I had to pay money to the coach, and the coach worked on me for 6 months. And Kemi, what did the coach say? Everything he said, I knew. I had heard them before. He didn't say anything new, but how he said them, how he went about them, the confidence that he demonstrated, that he exuded. These guided me in the first 6 months of the role. And when I started, it was as if I had been a CEO at my previous organization, but I had to hire a coach to guide me along the line. So that is the bold step I had to take. I didn't say that, oh, I know it all, because the truth is, sometimes you are tempted to think that as CEO, you should have all the answers. Guys, I'm telling you, I don't have all the answers, and I am leading an organization which is a bit technical. It is a laboratory organization. Yes, I have a background in biochemistry. I was trained in the lab. But when I finished school, Kemi, I used that knowledge to go and sell drugs and to manage sales teams and marketing teams and doing business development and chasing contracts. I didn't work as a scientist, even though I was trained in school as a scientist. So you come and lead an organization and people expect you to have all the answers to all the technical challenges we may have. The moment I took over, I held a meeting and I told them, guys, I have never worked in a commercial lab. All the lab I worked in were in my school days. So if you expect me to solve all your technical problems, I'm sorry, I will not be able to. But I have the men who can do it. That is, so I had to admit that this is my shortfall, and then identify who can help me on this journey. So by looking at the team that I had, the technically savvy ones, I had to reorient them and then utilize them in dealing with technical challenges. I did not say that, oh, I've never worked in a lab before, so I cannot be the CEO of a laboratory. To hell with that. That is something that happened to me 30 years ago. It will not happen to me now. I know better. So in taking a bold action towards becoming limitless, don't look at the situation face value, at the face value. Look at yourself. What is my capacity, my ability? What can I do? I can do something about it. Those who are working in this same role, those who are entrepreneurs, they have blood. I have blood. They breathe air. I breathe air. They talk. I talk. They speak. I speak. What else? So you need to be bold and take that action. Sometimes you may punch above your weight, but still punch anyway. As long as your hand is not going to break, Be bold enough, muzzle up, and then punch. And it will amaze you, you'll be able to do it. So that is my personal story. I still had a few limiting beliefs, even in coming into the role. One was the technical bit, because I didn't have the practical, technical background. I still came, and I'm doing very well. In 2 years, we have been able to change the narrative of Synlab Ghana at the group level. In 2 years, I was winning award locally, where last year I was privileged to have been awarded the most innovative medical diagnostics CEO of the year. And how did I do it? By utilizing the team that I had, harnessing their potentials and leading them to come up with new ways and new actions of doing things, new actions, new ways of doing things. And we're able to change the narrative. So any personal story that you may have in overcoming limiting belief, this is a question, but because we're having challenges with people talking, you can answer it yourself. Do you have any personal story yourself, how you were able to overcome, or how you be able to overcome limiting beliefs? You should be able to have your own personal story. If you don't have, you should be able to change the narrative after this presentation.
Let's call somebody. Actually, I will accommodate one person. Mrs. Noble Williams, please. So I'm bringing you up with your video and unmuting you as well. Yeah, so I didn't mention the mix of people on the call. We have people from Nigeria, of course, Canada, the US, the UK, Kenya, even Ghana.
Oh,
so
okay.
Enobu is Enobu is a legal practitioner. She's based in Canada. Enobu, can you turn on your camera right now? You are muted. You can just unmute and speak. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You need to unmute. Okay.
I can see. I'm still in
okay.
I mentioned that yes. So I'm unable to speak.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let us call somebody else actually. Because I actually want you to have what you desired in terms of it being engaging. So I'll go to Olusheye. Olusheye. Just introduce yourself briefly, what you do, and then you can take a question. You need to unmute if you can hear me. Very great.
Hi, Olusheye. Yeah, so any personal story on how you overcame any limiting belief, if it has ever happened before? I can see your smile, but I can't hear your voice. Have you unmuted?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, I think one limiting belief experience was not so to enter university, you need to pass an exam.
Your volume is quite low. I don't know why that is. You need to increase your volume. Yes, it's better now.
Okay. I'll just amplify my voice. Okay, so to enter the university, you need to pass an exam, the JAM exam here in Nigeria. So yeah, and that was after finishing high school. Yeah, so I finished high school. Yeah, I was doing well. I was among the top 5. So everybody expected me to just find it easy to just enter the university, but that was not the case. I I actually failed my first jam. Like I failed woefully. And I don't know why. Up until today, I still don't know why. So I think it wasn't, so this belief was not from others, it was more from myself, because I felt I was not able to, I mean, why was I not able to, pass this exam? All my mates that weren't even as intelligent, passed and entered and doing their course of study that they want to do and all of that. So I was limited in that sense, feeling that, okay, I'm not good enough to, because I wanted to be a medical doctor. I'm not good enough to be one, so, but I overcame it with my mother's help. So she convinced me, and she was like, Sheye, that result is not your result. I was crying, looking at my mom like, Mom, all the years, all the money you spend, was wasted and all of that. But she was like, no, Sheye, this is not your result. I was like, okay. She was literally encouraging me and all of that. And I was like, wow, okay. Said it's not your result, that I can do better, and that I will do better and all of that. So she registered me for a tutorial, and I passed my next jam. I passed very well, entered, went through medical school, and now I'm a medical doctor. So I think that's...
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
So, yeah, thank you very much. So I think, but that belief was coming from myself. So I don't know if that counts, but I think...
Yeah. Thank you so much, Olusheye, for sharing your story. So if I heard you, because you had failed a jam exam, you thought you couldn't do it again. You nearly gave up until your mother came in and encouraged you. What did she do? She challenged the validity of the belief and said, you were among the top 5 in your class. So if you have failed your jam exam once, it doesn't mean you fail it again. So you realize that once you have challenged it and the validity was not valid, I mean, it didn't have any evidence, it didn't have any fact to back it, then you took the action, right? The action was you registered in a tutorial school to learn more. And that action helped you. And I'm sure that the next time you wrote, you even did better than most people. It is because you took action. Imagine if there was no one to encourage you to, go back and study for the JAM exam. If you had attempted it without challenging that belief, the probability you would have failed again is very high. So it may not be school, it may not be, sometimes you might have attended too many interviews and no one seemed to be hiring you. You want job. And you are saying, oh, is it that I'm not good enough to be hired? No, look at it from another perspective and then start preparing. Anytime I have to attend any interview, I will go online and type sample interview question, then the rest will be for the role. Sample interview questions and answers for so and so role. Then I will read and prepare. So maybe you are looking for a new job. You need to know why you are not being hired. Is it that I'm saying all the wrong stuff at interviews? I have to prepare differently. Maybe you have started a new business and it's not going well. It would be good you also find someone who has excelled or succeeded at business and then share ideas, share your failures, share your challenges so that the person can help you. Like I did, I hired a coach who was very experienced and told me the same things that I knew, but in a different way. So it'll be good you understand where the limiting belief is coming from so that you can confront it and become limitless. All right, because of time, I'm going to give you an assignment because in my national service days, I was a teacher, so I love to teach. For the next 4 weeks, as you go through this coaching session, Kemi, you told me it for 5 weeks. You've done 1 week, so you have 4 more weeks to go. I need every participant to identify 10 limiting beliefs that they have. And then once you are done writing, you also come up with how will I be able to overcome them. Maybe yours may not be up to 10. We thank God. If it is not up to 10, don't worry your head. But if you can identify 10, that is fine. If you can't identify 10 and there's even 5, it is also okay. Like I said, you redefine your own success. But what is important is that for every limiting belief, come up with a commensurate, empowering statement or how you would overcome it based on what you have studied today. So let me do our final takeaway. In summary, limiting beliefs are in our minds. In most cases, they are not real. And the truth is, you can break yourself free from its hold. That is the fact, and that is the truth. I took us through the 4R approach to overcoming limiting beliefs. Recognize the limiting beliefs, reframe those beliefs into empowering statements, reinforce them with positive affirmation, journal them, and then surround yourself with positive influences, and then redefine your own success or redefine success in your own terms. Then there are practical ways to deal with limiting beliefs. We said that you identify the root cause, you challenge its validity, and then you shift your perspective. And then in order to take bold actions, you confront your fears. If you don't confront your fears, they will stay. Then you take small steps, not big jumps, small steps, one day at a time. The truth is, it will not change overnight. That's why we said never give up. One small step at a time. Eventually, before you know it, you will grow through practice. As you keep working at it, you will grow through practice. So these are my final tips and takeaway. Thank you very much. Any question that you may have, please feel free to ask.
Wow. That was amazing. You know, how I had initially designed this is that after the facilitator sessions, we'll go into like a private room.
Okay.
And now, what else do I want to say? You know, Patrick already did justice to today's topic. So I'll just round up here so that I can stop sharing on YouTube Live, and we can actually have an open room.
Okay.
So once again, thank you so much, Patrick, for your time. You can stop sharing, please.
Okay, then let me quickly do that.
Yeah.
I've stopped. And then I will PDF the file and share with you so that you can also share with participants.
Awesome.
The presentation. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So thank you so much, Patrick, for the time for lecture. My notes is full, really. Right. I told you I was coming here to learn. And it's also really about just leveraging the strengths of the people that you know. You said something about how being very selective about your network and the kind of friends that you keep. And to be honest, like I told you, I prayerfully, but that's the truth, right? Came up with each of the topic, first with each of the speakers, and then with each of the topic, right? To actually assign what topic to who and all of that. And this was fantastic. I remember that one of the very impactful sessions that I had with a friend that I invited just like this, and he spoke about networking. I just know that this guy, people think I have network, but this guy is well connected. And I remember that session. Honestly, it unlocked a key for networking for me and transformed it completely, right? Completely. It changed my networking game. And it was my friend that normally we talk on WhatsApp. I mean, he's a CEO as well, based in Canada. And we just talk, Kemi, how far you talk normal things, right? but you have no idea the amount of things I got from him in that session. And same thing with this as well. And I will never forget overcoming limiting beliefs, the 4 hours to approach it. There's something else I want to round up this with, and then we'll go into the open room. On it's something that you said in passing, but the coach that I am asked to bring it back up again. So you said something about how when you became a CEO, you needed to get a coach. Yeah. I mean, this was you. You did the interview, you were already selected, yet the cold feet came up again. Hey, you've never done this again before. And at that point, you didn't give in to that energy. You just went ahead, and coach. And you mentioned something in passing about swimming, and I actually did write that down because, I wrote it down. There are a lot of things that you don't actually know how to do, that we don't know how to do. And one of it, I don't know how to swim as well, right? Oh. What do you do? Even though you can imagine that if you want to swim, you need to learn to float in water. You can sort of like picture what it takes, but yet you are not able to swim until a coach actually teaches you to swim. Maybe there are some exceptions of people that, yes, they might have been self-trained, So you get a coach to teach you how to swim. Same thing with our lives and ourselves, or when we say better self and all of that. There are some things that you cannot just maybe achieve on your own. And having the right support, if you have an accountability partner, or you get a coach, for example, it's not a waste of investment. Many people are too lazy to invest in themselves, yet they want transformation, they want change, right? So this was really fantastic, and I thought to just run with that. There are a lot of things you don't know how to do yet, but you will be able to do with the right support, and of course, maybe one of these is also getting a coach. All right, so at this point, I would say this was fantastic. And I want to encourage you to go back and listen to this session. Look at the slide. In fact, I will intentionally not share the slides yet until people go on YouTube. If people go on YouTube, I actually be part of the energy in the room as again just reading the slides, right? So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to even live on YouTube, so that there's something that people can refer to, so you can still have access to it. And I can also see that we don't have a full room exactly. Some people had reached out to take permissions to attend late. It's a festive day in Nigeria, very festive. This today in particular, right?
What's happening?
A lot of weddings happen. A lot of weddings are currently happening, right? So they can always make reference to it. So if you are here and you are not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please use this privilege to subscribe. At the KSA, you get access to it subsequently. The session I said I had on networking is my friend. I have access to him, or he's on my WhatsApp with gist and chat. Yet I go back to that session. I can't tell you how many times I listen to that session. So when people say, Kemi, you have a rich network, you have a solid network, it's investment, right? It's investment of time. Sometimes resource. Well, the resource is time and maybe even money, So please go back and listen to this. Patrick became a CEO, yet he still had cold feet. At that point, the kind of challenge he had is not the kind of challenge he had 30 years ago. Now, Olusheye mentioned a challenge about JAM. JAM is not a challenge for you today. You're a medical doctor. You face other kind of challenges. Mm-hmm. You face the challenge of trying to rise to the top or something of that nature. So JAM is no longer JAM is no longer a challenge. It's no longer a challenge for you. So, but certain things might still trigger that tendency, which is why you go back to this. It says the 4 hours of overcoming limiting beliefs, So thank you once again, Patrick. I will definitely have you back